Morning. Well, you notice we're not in my office today. We are at the Nevada Department of Agriculture offices down on Idaho Street. We're going to do another state investigator interview today. I am with Dalton Smith. He is a agricultural police officer, which I thought was an amazing title. I mean, I'm not sure how many of you in class are thinking, by God, I want to be an agricultural police officer. I didn't really know it existed until I started investigating, something else. Um, Interestingly, there's only five of them in the entire state, so we were just joking. Unless one of them gets hit by a bus, it might not be the greatest career move because it's going to be a little while before they're open. But I'm going to spin this around so we can talk to Dalton, and we'll talk about ag this morning. Okay.
Morning.
Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, just ignore it. If you're there in the middle of the screen, that's all that matters. So, Officer Smith, you've been Officer Smith for how many years?
3 years with Department of Agriculture.
And before that, you were
I was Correctional Officer Smith with Nevada Department of Corrections for 2 years.
Over in Carlin.
At the Carlin camp.
And you're a local. You're a Spring Creek grad.
Yeah, I am. 2014.
So half of my students in this class right now just had the same history instructor you had a half a dozen years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to see. It's great to see a local done well. Then it gives them hope that there's a chance for them. So you. How did you get into this racket? Why? What was the interest?
So I've always been in the agriculture community. Grew up 4-H FFA, working
Did
ranches.
you have critters out at Spring Creek?
Not since I came to Spring Creek. I did all that when I was in Arizona prior to coming up here. And I realized how expensive they were, but I still did FFA when I came up here and was in high school. After that, went to GBC, got my scholarship through there.
Yeah, that's great. Great to hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
Another good grad doing well.
I had no idea this job honestly existed. When I was working corrections, my old sergeant, born and raised in Nevada, grew up in the agriculture community, saw that this job was posted on the state's newspaper, per se, the website. And he told me, he's like, that's the job you need to do. He's like, that's a dream job right there. So I had no idea it existed.
You replaced. There's only 5 of you in the state. You said there's 5 districts.
Mm-hmm. 4 districts.
4 districts. Yep. Okay, so 4 of you and a supervisor.
So yeah, exactly, 4 and a supervisor.
So interestingly, now is it just because we were talking, your district isn't a lot more than Elko and Lander County. Which isn't a very big hunk of the state. Is that because there's so many ranches up here? Or why didn't they divide the state evenly? I mean, what, there's not a lot of ranches down in Vegas, or what? I mean,
exactly, there's not a lot of ranches down there. Once upon a time, the state had 10 different districts. Yeah, okay. That's way before my time, so I don't know too much about that. All I know is it was changed and changed again, and then they finalized on the 4 districts, which 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're in 1 right now, so.
Gosh, talk about overworked. I mean, in this racket, we talk to lots of deputies that patrol an awful large area, but so far you might be the winner for having one guy for one big area.
Yeah, county lines don't stop us.
So your district doesn't go down to White Pine, you said. You said your guy has, the next guy down there has got White Pine and then over to Eureka
and then pretty much along the 50? US 50, yeah, okay. Till he meets up right around Austin.
Huh, okay. So you are Category 1. You're a fully sworn, fully deputized, fully commissioned police officer for the state of Nevada.
Yep.
So you said you went to GBC, but does your position require anything past high school as a requirement, an educational requirement, or do you have to have a degree of any kind?
Not as a requirement, no. Now, it's a benefit, obviously, if you say, just like any job, if you have a degree in that career field, it's going to benefit you. But to say it's required, no, we don't have it. Graduate high school and have experience in the agricultural field.
Okay. a lot of the investigator spots take degrees. Your counterparts at Fish and Game, the game wardens, are all running around bachelor's degrees,
Yep.
in biology or something. But I guess you don't autopsy a lot of cows. You just look at their brands. So.
Mm-hmm. We'll do necropsies on them if we're trying to find a bullet, if we found a shot cow or something like that.
Okay.
But no, we're not like the game wardens where they're digging in if they're trying to find specific something, a disease in the animal or whatever. Mostly when we do necropsies, we're looking for this cow was shot. We're looking for the bullet, some casing,
Right.
some evidence in that cow.
Some over hyper hunter mistaken it for an elk or thought it was didn't get their elk and thought, well, geez, there's 1,000 pounds of meat right there. That might do me just as well, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How often do you bump into that? Do you bump into that annually or ever or?
That honestly varies. It's what the rancher will report. So if the rancher sees a shot cow, they'll report it to us. In my time of 3 years being here, I've worked, I guess about 3 or 4 shot cow cases. So
Okay, so annually
annually is a good, yeah.
Some hunter will get confused or hungry. Okay, so agriculture. We were talking earlier. You are concerned with our livestock and plants. We were talking. Load of corn going through. And you do most of your investigations are kind of self-initiated through traffic stops, is
Exactly.
what you're telling me.
Yep.
Okay, tell me, we're going to leave here and you're going to go out on patrol and there's a load of corn out there on the interstate. What are you looking for if you stop it?
I'm looking for the health paperwork on it to see where it's going. Typically, you ask for the bill of lading on them, which is what most truck drivers have when they're in transit. If it's destined for within our state, obviously it'll be listed on that bill of lading. And if it's a consumer product, it needs to make sure it meets all of Nevada's entry requirements to be able to be sold within the state. Make sure it's pest-free. There's no bugs crawling around in the husk or in the containers that they're in. That way, when they offload that corn, it's not going to fill our soil with some invasive bug or some invasive weed that hitched a ride on that. So that's what that health paperwork is. It ties to that load of whatever, saying that yes, it does not have any of these things that you're looking for within the state.
So obviously, as far as I know, we do not grow any corn in the state of Nevada. I'm not sure we grow sunflowers in Nevada. I'm not sure we grow anything in Nevada. So almost anything you see out there is coming from somewhere else.
Exactly.
And you said before, luckily, this is a 99% really pretty darn honest business. And you'll stop and check, and they'll have what they need, and it goes on. I've been noticing driving around a lot more boat inspections, and I heard something the other day on the radio how we've got a brand new invasive species coming in, on the boats, and we seem to be doing, that's Fish and Game, but they seem to be doing that. So, but they're looking for the same thing.
Exactly.
Something invasive.
It's something invasive.
And you want to keep the invasive things out.
Exactly.
Okay. So you're out cruising around on patrol, and there's a truck ahead of you with a couple of dozen cows in it, cattle in it, and you stop it. You just stop it. If they're driving, it's kind of interesting. I mean, the state patrol doesn't get to stop cars without a reason.
Without
to
their
stop.
PC.
You don't necessarily need that.
The livestock or agricultural commodity in state law gives us our PC.
That's
Luckily,
it. If you see it out there, it's yours automatically. Okay, you stop a load of cattle. What are you gonna do about it?
I'm gonna call out the traffic stop through my dispatch. We use Nevada State Police dispatch system, and approach them, introduce myself, tell them what I'm doing and what I'm checking for. Most of the time, I'll ask them where you're coming from, where you're going to. That way, I know exactly their end location, or if they're coming from Rendon to Elko. It makes it easier if you just ask that right away. If they're coming from out of state and coming within state and they have a load of cows, I'm going to look for the brand paperwork depending on where they came from. Not all states require brand paperwork. Look for that brand paperwork, and if they're coming within the state, I'm going to look for the health paperwork on those cows to make sure that they're not bringing in, again, zoonotic disease that's going to get in our soil and cause an outbreak within the state. Now, if those aren't there, that's where more of an investigation comes in. We have to get the state vet involved, and the state vet will decide if we want to turn them around and send them back to where they came from, give them a ticket and let them go because there's not a lot of disease outbreak, or wherever they're going, we're going to quarantine them there until the health requirements are met.
So the brand on a cow is kind of like the license plate. I mean, that's how you identify one cow from another cow.
Mm-hmm.
And the paperwork then is the title to it, kind of like if you had your truck.
Exactly. Yeah.
So hopefully they've got a mark on it, identify mark on it, and hopefully they've got the paperwork to back up that mark.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're a happy camper.
Exactly.
And then they have a nice day and they go on and do what they're doing. You were telling me before that it would be rare to have something without a brand on it because branding is. Tell me about branding.
So the way Nevada is, if you're anywhere on BLM ground running cattle, the brand has to be registered with the state. It's in Nevada law, and if it's not, a hefty fine follows behind it if you're running unbranded cattle. Now, the caveat to that is if you're running on private ground, which there's not that much of it, you necessarily don't need to have a brand registered, but a brand inspection is still required.
Okay. So, and you said that branding's a fun thing to do and everybody enjoys it. It's a big party, and so everything's branded. Okay, so for us poor non-cattle type people, when I'm out driving around and there's a cow in the middle of the road and I have to stop until it crosses the road, I know they've all got ear tags and stuff. That's different than a brand. What's the ear tag do?
So the ear tags is more so, the brand is the state identification.
Okay.
No different than like if you see them and they're missing a part of their ear, that's called an earmark. The ear tag is more so the rancher's identifying mark in a sense, because when it's the middle of winter and everything's haired up, snow's flying, it's hard to see. They know that they can look out and see
an orange tag.
An orange tag.
That one's mine.
Exactly. Versus their neighbor that runs a green tag or blue. You know, it's not an identifier. It's an aid for the rancher is what those ear tags are for.
Okay. So it's you don't care necessarily. It could be a secondary something.
Mm-hmm.
All the cattle in there have got orange tags, and you know that Bob's Ranch happens to run orange tags. You're on a pretty good basis with the 5,000 ranchers in Elko County, or however many there are.
So, yeah, I try and stay on the best I can basis with most people around here, which, like I said, in this industry, you're talking to them a lot. You're at their ranch a lot. You're sitting at their table a lot.
So not counting the hobby farms with the guy that's got 2 cows in his backyard. How many? Now they're all not the size of the Wine Cup Ranch, obviously.
Correct.
But how many ranchers? How many people are you dealing with in the county or your district or your area?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. Once upon a time when I was on FTO, my FTO told me that we have 3,000 producers statewide.
Okay.
So, and a majority of the cattle producers will be found up in this northern area, whether it's Elko, Winnemucca, Eureka. So, a majority of the cows you'll see are in the northeastern part of the state.
You could have 100 or a couple hundred, you think, pretty easily? Or
easily.
Several?
Again, that'll depend on what your BLM allotment allows, too.
Okay. And everything up here being open range and free range, you kind of do the cattle mix?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So my cattle are with your cattle, and they're all out chomping on the same grass, and when it's time to go round them up, hopefully I get my cattle and not your cattle. Okay, so we're looking for so if you stop somebody and you're right, they're going from Weir to Delco, and they don't have the paperwork they need or the brands they need, or what are you looking for? What am I in trouble for? What am I doing?
So that all depends. So, like you said, if you're coming from Rendon and going into Elko, unless you're taking that cow to, or that horse, whatever, cow or horse, if you're taking it to transfer ownership, okay, well, we need to make sure you're getting a brand inspection done upon that transfer of ownership. Or if you're taking that cow to be slaughtered, and you tell me on the traffic stop, yes, I'm going to A&B Butcher Shop for this to be slaughtered. Okay, where's your brand paperwork for this to go to slaughter? Now, most of the time, if you're going from Rendon to Elko, Rendon to Spring Creek, because you're just moving the cow within district, there's no crime being committed there. There's no concerns. I just make sure that the cows belong to who I'm talking to, or an affiliate of that person, and I send them on their way.
That's something you'd be interested in. That's something you'd be. If you stop me, and I've got a cow in the back of my pickup, and I can't prove it's my cow, or I should be able to prove it's my cow.
You should be able to, yes.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
I mean, it's like if I have a boat on my trailer behind my pickup, I should be able to prove that's my boat, and I should be able to prove that's my cow.
And that's where working in this job, getting to know the ranches is good, because that guy's ranch manager could be moving this ranch's cows. That ranch manager is not on that brand, but I know that ranch manager works for this ranch, and he's going from his allotment in Deeth to his allotment in Charleston.
Okay.
And those, like I said, when they're within district like that, no laws are being broken.
Okay. Very cool. So if you stop me out on the interstate and I've got California plates and I'm heading to Utah, now we talked before how some states, Oklahoma I think you might have mentioned, don't have brands and paperwork, and that's a big cowboy state. I mean, there's 90 trillion cows in Oklahoma. They don't care. They don't keep track. They don't.
I guess not. I know once you get far enough on the eastern side of the states that brand inspection laws kind of go out the window, and it's more so health laws that they care about. So each state is kind of their own entity when it comes to brand inspection laws, which makes it difficult sometimes. It all depends on what state you're talking about. Like you said, coming from California to Utah.
California's got paperwork.
California has paperwork,
brands.
Yep.
And you understand that brands and those paperwork, and you can check and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And if they're stealing cows out of California, you should be able to figure that out on that paperwork.
Exactly.
So we talked before about cattle theft and cattle rustling and cattle stealing, and super easy crime, it seems to me. I mean, I'm out driving around on these back roads and I see 1,000 cows next to the road. How hard could it be to stick a cow in the back of my truck?
Unfortunately, it's pretty easy. That's the problem.
And it's hard to keep track. I mean, like you say, the ranchers don't even know they're missing a cow until 6 months later. So, but you're under the impression, just anecdotally and what they tell you and stuff, it's not an enormous problem. I mean, there's not a huge amount of theft going. It's not your primary concern.
Yeah, we're not losing 10,000 cows a year amongst different ranchers. I'm not getting 10,000 reports of stolen or missing cows. So to say it's not a huge concern, no, that's always a concern of mine. That's one of the main reasons we do the traffic stops, honestly. And because we work with neighboring states on their missing and stolen cattle as well. But no, luckily, the industry itself is a very honest industry. It's just a matter of those few bad apples that are within it.
So is it hard for me if I go out and pick up this cow and stick it in the back of my truck? I either have to go take it home and slaughter it myself. I've got to slaughter this 1,200-pound cow because if I take it to the slaughterhouse, they're not going to accept it. They're not going to take it. They're going to call you.
Yep.
Or I mean, okay. So I mean, yeah. What am I going to do with this thing?
Yep.
I'm going to have to. It's going to be tough to fence it. It's going to be hard to fence a stolen cow necessarily.
Exactly.
Unless I take it to Oklahoma where nobody.
Yeah. If you want to take it in the back of your truck that far.
Yeah, and all of a sudden the profit margin kind of starts going up a little bit. Okay. You gonna do this forever?
I love the job. Yes. I grew up in the industry. Yes. So if it's here forever, yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay, cool job.
It is. It's a very cool job.
You wish there was 10 more openings somewhere, or maybe my students hope there was 10 more openings somewhere. So, like you said, if you stop this car out there and it's doing something wrong, you might write it a ticket, and it's just a plain old everyday district court ticket down here, and you got to go down and testify, just like shoplifting out of Walmart. I mean, it's just a plain criminal case. I mean, it's just Nevada statutes and criminal cases. And Kelsey, we talked about Cat 1, and And that's required. Everybody's Cat 1 in your position?
Yep,
That's
everybody,
a
yep.
requirement. That's a sworn writing ticket position.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said also, though, there are civilians, though, that do the brand inspections.
Correct.
And there's more than 5 of those in the state.
There's, I believe, rough numbers between 30 and 45 total within the state of brand inspectors.
Okay, so I don't want to go to the academy. I don't want to do push-ups, but going out and checking cows could be a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
What do the civilians do?
The civilians are just that they're brand inspectors, so they'll get, if hired, they'll get issued their equipment, the iPad, the printer. They'll get trained up on what to look for, the laws they're supposed to follow, and what they'll do is...
But they don't make traffic stops.
They don't make traffic stops. They're strictly there for if the office calls or a producer calls and says, I need a brand inspection on this day.
And why would I need a brand inspection?
Because it's Nevada law. So Nevada law, if you're changing ownership, leaving the state, leaving district, going to slaughter, all of the above require a brand inspection within Nevada.
Okay. So I'm Joe Bob Rancher here, and I'm going to take 500 cows up to Idaho to get slaughtered or whatever I'm going to do with them. They have to, so I get the brand inspected so you can see that, yes, these are my 500
Mm-hmm.
cows. And civilian dude goes over and touches and looks at each one of the 500 cows.
Exactly, yep.
And then they issue a piece of paper. Do they issue the paperwork then that says this guy can transport these cows because I've checked them and they're okay?
They do, yep. The brand inspection, it'll have owner's name on this side, and like you said, we'll use your example. He's retaining ownership, taking them to a slaughter facility. So it'll be his name up here and all his information. From 2 will be the same thing. It'll be his name, just the destination will be Kuna, Idaho, the meat plant up there. And it's a retained ownership thing. The brand's on there. You put the total amount of cows you inspected, the color, the sex,
Really?
the age range. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's
Yep.
okay.
It's all done on an iPad system because our entire brand system is uploaded into we have a system for it to where, like you said.
So my Bob's Ranch has got a great big B for a brand,
Mm-hmm.
and your iPad says that the Bob's Ranch brand is a great big B.
Correct.
Okay. And they've touched every cow, and every single cow has got a great big B on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they certify that. And the exact same thing, if I'm selling you 500 of my cows, they just crank out a piece of paper that says, I'm selling Dalton Smith 500 cows, and that's where they're going to.
Yep, exactly. The 2 becomes me. It's these 500 cows. I sign, you sign, brand inspector signs, they print it out, and that's the new title.
So then when you decide to go slaughter those cows, you just happen to own, and here's my piece of paperwork that says that, 500 cows with a big B on them instead of a big D on it with your brand. You don't rebrand it or anything. I mean, you just keep the big B.
No, most people will rebrand.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it honestly all depends on what they're doing, but most people will rebrand that cow because if they bought 500 yearlings, they're going to turn them out for a year on their pasture. Well, legally, they have to have their brand on them if it's BLM, but they also want the neighbors to know that, yes, that's mine.
Okay.
So.
Okay, but they got the cute little ear tag that says it's theirs. So.
Correct, but again, it comes back to the Nevada law that if it's on BLM allotment, it needs to have your brand on it.
Okay. Cool. Okay. I think we're good. Officer Smith, thank you so much for your time today.
No problem.
So there's a new exciting position that we sure didn't know about. Same thing with the other weeks. Watch this. Write me up a paper. Everything that's interesting, everything that's cool, everything you never heard about before. Things you're worried about, things you're concerned about, whatever. Crank it out. Thanks, everybody.